We are back, everybody, and hopefully this will work out for us here. There's going to be probably a slight delay because I think Wargo's listening to us through his computer through YouTube, and so there might be a little bit of a delay. So just hang tight, and when you ask your question, there might be a delay before Wargo gets the answer. But Mike, good to have you with us this evening. The first question we're going to throw up here is from Speedman. He says, "Who was your biggest influence once you were on campus, Wargo?"
Okay, I could hear the commercial, no problem. I don't understand why I can't hear you guys on my phone, but the commercial is fine. I'll answer the first question. Boy, that's a really, really, really wild question because most of those players were all big influences to me. I don't know if you're looking from a player standpoint. I think in the weight room, working out, just like hitting my strength goals and everything like that and getting better. I looked up to a lot of guys on a team as far as that goes. I don't know if I have a biggest influence, but just just pretty much everybody and just the program and individual players and seeing what could be done and just seeing how you can improve as far as that goes.
Excellent. All right, next one here is from Brian Oberst. I'll maybe give him a second here to walk back to his computer so he can hear the question here, or maybe read it. But it says, Wargo, how many national championships do you think Cooper would have won if there was a playoff system like there is now?
That's a great question. I would say if you take a look at it, I think realistically, the team I was on might have had a shot. I mean, we did terrible against Michigan. We lost 28-0, but the team this year lost 28-0. If we would have said, okay, we're going to put that loss behind us and go into the playoffs, we still would have made the first round of the playoffs because we weren't ranked out of the top 12 during that season. So we were like 8th or 9th, I believe, when we went into the Holiday Bowl. So I think that team had the talent to do it. If we could have focused and played those teams, we had the same situation we had with the team now, where for whatever reason, when you got the maize and blue helmets on, all of a sudden, everything kind of just falls apart. And then, but they could play other teams and do well. So 93 had a shot. I think serious shot probability, obviously, 96 could have had a really good shot, and 98 I think could have had a good shot. 95 too. So I think there could have been at least one national championship had of those 3-4 years had we had a playoff.
Yeah, Cory, you want to speak real fast to that as well, since I know that we're both '90s kids.
90s kids just aging us. Yeah, I mean, look, I, I'm going to ask Mike probably a tough question here in the sense that it's hard to bring up. But what do you think it was the kryptonite for against that team up north? Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I used to say this. I don't agree with my own statements from the past. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, Cooper didn't get the right." I just don't believe any coach that goes there doesn't get it. Obviously you guys worked hard. Obviously you prepared hard. Obviously you thought about that game. What was just that little kryptonite that would just trip you up in that game?
So the question is the kryptonite with Michigan. That's a great question. This is just my opinion, but I just think there's just a lot of pressure to it. I mean, there's always pressure to it with the Michigan game. They were a very good team at that time for the most part. I mean, they were, I believe, ahead of us in the Big Ten most of the early 90s. And I think 91, 92, and 93. So there were close games, but I think it's kind of the same psychology. Like when we go up against a team up north, let me see, 87 was the last year Earl beat them. And then 88 was Cooper's first year, which, that was his first year. So 89 loss. 90, most of those games came down to, 1990 came down to like an option play ran at the last minute. It was a bad play call. 91 that was Desmond Howard's Heisman pose. 92 we tied, which was the biggest victory in Ohio State. That saved Cooper's job. I just think, number one, this is my opinion, they kind of hyped Michigan week a lot, where I think it made the players a lot more nervous. I think if they would approach that more like a regular game, at least in the 90s. Like they would stripe up the helmets. So like we would dress up, stripe the helmets up like Michigan. They would play the Michigan fight song really loud in practice. And I think everybody was just so hyper and hyped up. Like, you're probably had better athletes a lot of those years, but it's just like the pressure. And then every single year, and Ryan Day, thank God for the national championship, because I think that release, it's like a big, steam valve being released. But the pressure is just immense, especially when you have multiple losses. For Ryan Day now, this national championship, it will sustain him for a while. But if there's a loss to the team up north next year, which if that happens, people are going to forget about the national championship. But I just think the pressure was there. It's kind of like golfing, or it's kind of like once you start missing and doing it, it gets in your head a little bit. You got to figure out a way to get it out of your head. We had some bad luck, just some wrong plays and everything. But my last year, that was great. I wasn't able to play because I was injured, but we beat Michigan kind of like when the cards were off. It was 1994. The pressure was off. We got killed by Penn State. That's when they had a really great year, and we went and we beat Michigan. It was Cooper's first Michigan victory. So I think that would be the best way to answer that question.
It's a good one, man. Shaun, get a question ready here in a little bit. We're gonna ask Mika's question next. This is a great question. Wargo's gonna love this question. So, all right, Mike. This is from our buddy Mika, and she says, Wargo, how do you feel about the Rudy movie, and would you be open to a movie about yourself? I love this question.
Well, I do love that question. Of course, everybody would kind of love a movie about themselves. I mean, my life has been extremely ordinary, other than playing for Ohio State. I've had a good life and everything, but I love talking about the glory days. So it'd be awesome. I think the movie was already made with the Rudy movie. I think that was a great movie. If people want to make it, that's fine. Do something from an Ohio State perspective. I also remember there's so many other guys that were in my situation. I really respect, and thanks to you guys, I'm getting recognition of being a Rudy of Ohio State, because I know so many other walk-ons that pretty much did exactly the same thing. But for whatever reason, I was in that play at that time when that movie came out. Life happens down to being in the right place at the right time for a few moments in your life, right? I mean, you got fade if you were a day late or a day short. If I would have never played, that might have never happened. But sure, if they want to do it, I don't know if it would sell anything, but I'd love to have a movie.
Well, the book's going to be made, so that's going to happen regardless. I just so everybody knows, Mike and I are going to make that happen. So be on the lookout for the announcement on that one. So, all right, Shaun, it's your turn to get ask Mike a question here, buddy.
Okay, who is the best offensive player you played with, and probably the best defensive player that was on you were a teammate with at your time at Ohio State?
So I would say, oh my God, there's so many of them. The best offensive player, boy, I mean, you have a ton to pick from there. It's you take a look. I mean, we had Eddie George. He did great. He really kind of, after I left the program, he was the one, like in 95 and 96, he really increased. I think at the time, Joey Galloway was incredible. I never seen anybody run that fast. We tried out for the NFL, and that was like my big moment. If you're a senior at Ohio State, no matter what, if you played or never played, you get to try out for the NFL scouts there. Just it's kind of like pro day, they call it. So I'm all excited. I ran like a 5.5 240 at 285, and I benched a lot. And I'm like, hey, I got a shot at getting the NFL. Of course, I had no shot. But Joey Galloway ran right after me. He ran a 4.140.
Wow.
And it's like you're witnessing world record speed, like right in front of you. So he was definitely one of the best of them. I think defensive players, you got, Big Daddy. He was the first pick of the draft, and nobody could really block him. He basically was just incredible fast. There's just so many to choose from. I mean, we had Shaun Springs on defense. Trying to think of people in the pros. It's a hard question to answer because there were so many great players. I remember just after my career ended, I'd be watching TV and see these guys in the pros for a couple decades. I used to go up against that guy. I used to go up against that guy. So those are the guys I liked.
Cool.
Yeah, Joey Galloway was, man. I would love to have seen Joey Galloway and Ted Ginn Jr. in a race. You want to talk about fast, man. All right, Wargo. This one's a little off Buckeye here, but I love it. This is right up my alley. Steely Matt wants to know, Wargo, what's your favorite food? And you might be able to stay right there because I'm not getting that feedback now, Mike.
I have it muted. My man, that's a great question. When I was at Ohio State, my favorite food was unfortunately pizza. Um, Donato's. I still love Donato's. When I go to Columbus, I specifically order Donato's. We have it out here, but it's not the same. It's kind of like a frozen pizza, and they reheat it and they try to call it Donato's. I think some pizza places went out of business when I wasn't there. We had catfish biffs. We ain't got no fish at Adriatico's. So that was my favorite. Yeah, not the best meal, obviously, but there. My favorite food now, I love it all. Obviously, I like surf and turf, steak and lobster. Don't do that too much, but pretty much anything out there. But my favorite food at Ohio State was pizza. And the coolest part was you worked out so much you could eat a whole pizza and never have to gain any weight. But unfortunately, I found out the hard way after that ended. That was no longer true.
I love all these questions that I'm reading here, guys. These are fantastic. We will try our best to get through as many of these as possible. And again, if you want to make sure that your question gets answered, if you attach it to a super chat, I definitely will throw that one up there. This one's kind of similar to the one that Shaun asked, Mike. Who do you feel was the best player during your tenure at Ohio State? So kind of similar to the one that Shaun asked.
Oh, boy. If you want to go at per position, I think obviously I'm an offensive lineman, so I'm privy to offensive linemen. Cory Stringer, he was absolutely incredible as an offensive lineman in Orlando Pace. Cory Stringer, watching him play and how incredible that was. We were playing Michigan State one time, and he was dominating I want to get a tape of that game, 1993 Michigan State, but Cory Stringer was dominating that guy so bad. Every single day he was pancaking him and just destroying him. The guy got so frustrated he just started smashing into Cory to I guess thrown out of the game. But those guys were just incredible. Orlando Pace was so great. He started as a freshman, his very first game on campus, and basically that's what you're looking at. So that was great. Joey Galloway, as I said before, incredible receiver. It's hard really to nail that down because there were so many great players. And I'm getting cardio, which is good.
Yes, indeed, indeed. All right, next question here that I have starred for Mike. This one comes from somebody named Chris Wilds. I think we might know him.
Block him. Get rid of him. Stop.
No, we ain't blocking Chris. Come on. He says, Wargo, with all the changes to the game since you played, some for the better and some for the worse, what is the biggest issue with today's version of college football? Ooh, man.
Well, that's an easy one. The biggest change for the worse is it's $80 to get concessions at Ohio Stadium. That's definitely a change for the worse. But you take a look. It's just college football has just turned so much into a business. The revenue sharing, what's going on, the 105, is it Scott maximum players? Is that what it's going to be in that settlement? That's the end of the walk on. I think that's the end of college football with the glory. A guy who never played that much at all could walk on to Ohio State and get to play. I think that's going to be over with. It's now turned into like pro football. Nick Saban really had a great when he talked to Congress. He's like, it used to be about helping kids. It used to be about doing the right things. Now these kids are like, how much are you going to pay me? How much are you going to pay me? You understand that from a perspective because when I was there, the per diem for a scholarship athlete, a lot of these guys have absolutely zero money and they got a scholarship. That's the only thing they can survive on was $35, I believe, for the weekend. And even in the early 1990s, that was terrible. So you see it that way, but it's just gotten so much out of control. It's just so much big business. It's great we're Ohio State fans because I think we're going to be one of the elite schools, but I think college football, the way we knew it decades ago, is done. And how are these other schools going to survive with the NIL and everything? And, how Pitt, are they going to have an NIL like Ohio State? So I'm not going to get political, but I heard Trump might sign some kind of executive order. I don't know what he can do with that, but, it's sad in a lot of ways, but I love the 12-team playoff. That's the greatest thing in the world. I wish we had that years ago, like we talked about earlier. So there's a lot of positives, but I think it needs to be reined in a little bit with the NIL stuff.
Yeah, 100% on that, man. Yeah, I agree. By the way, I'm still paying my college loans. I don't know about anybody else. I wish I would have had a little NIL. Oh, Boggsy wasn't good enough for NIL, that's for sure. All right, next question is from Tyler. He says, Wargo, how exactly do you think we should beat Michigan in Ann Arbor this year? So he's asking a specific question. You get the ear of Ryan Day, and you get to give Ryan Day some advice on how to win that game, Wargo.
I think number one, very easy. I think play like you played against the playoff teams. When we played Michigan, I have no idea what that game plan was. Woody Hayes would be like, that's too conservative. So I think if they open it up, kind of like when we played Oregon again, we lost to Oregon. If we would have played Michigan the way we played those playoff teams, they would have had to have gone to the hospital. It would have been 100-0. Open it up, believe in our players, have the feeling, hey, I'm a national championship. I won the national championship. I didn't have to cheat. I didn't have to have some little dude go film people in games. I didn't have to play games or whatever else they did to get the national championship. I did it when everybody thought I wasn't going to do it and I was going to get fired. Go in there with that confidence, throw it to Jeremiah Smith 100 times, throw it to our new receivers, run it down their throats. This team has a ton to prove because nobody on that roster has beaten Michigan. So just relax, open up the game plan, play the game like you played Notre Dame, play the game like you played all those other teams in the playoff. Michigan will not have a chance. We will destroy them.
Love it. Yes, I need that win like I need oxygen. I'm not lying. I need that win. We got a couple more here we need to get through here before we shut her down for the evening. Again, we appreciate Mike doing the extra cardio tonight to answer these questions. But this one comes from Lisa. She says, Mike, how would you go about it if you were a player today? Oh, without the walk on, that's a tough question there for you, Wargo. Let's see what you come up with.
That's a great question. I think the walk on today, it's got to be so infinitely harder to do. I don't even know. I think they do have walk on tryouts. I saw something on the Ohio State football site, but you take a look. I mean, it's probably hard as a high school senior to get into Ohio State now because what are they doing? They're trolling the transfer portal to see the people that have gained college experience. As far as that goes, I would do the same thing. I mean, I would call the recruiting office. How I did it is I just was a pain in the butt. I called the football offices. I asked around, how do you get them involved with it? I think Ohio State's so much different now. They're national champions. When I was trying out for the team, Ohio State lost to Air Force in the Liberty Bowl, and a lot of their recruiting class in 1991 kind of flew the coop, no pun intended, because everybody thought Cooper was going to get fired. So I think I was in the right place at the right time. But I would go about it the same way. I highly doubt I would have even gotten a look, but that's how I would have done it.
This next question is fantastic from Chris, but I'm gonna save that. Chris, I'm gonna save your second question for the end because I love that question. Let's do Brian's question next. He's wanting to know, Wargo, if you were on the Ohio State team that beat Washington at home. So was that 95 or 90? I can't remember. It was either 94, 95, or 96.
Absolutely. That was 1993. It was our second game, and it was really cool because it was a night game. And we had very, very few night games before that point. They're a regular thing now. But back then, it was our first night game. So it was so exciting. we were playing them, and they had Napoleon Kaufman. They were a great team, and I don't know if they were favored, but I don't think people expected us to win. And that was the first real catalyst, I think, first real obstacle that we got to say 1993 is going to probably be a good team, because we beat Washington at home. It was an exciting night. It was great. I got on TV a few times, which I was excited about, just, on the sidelines harassing the cameraman. So we beat Washington in 1993. That is correct.
Yeah, and Brian Oberst says that he was at that game. That was his first game. Cool. That is cool. All right, let's go. Let's let one more question here for Mike. Really appreciate Mike's time here. I love this question. God, I love this question, Chris. Mike, if we did the Mike Wargo movie, what players would be most likely to come in and lay down their jerseys on Coach Cooper's desk, like in Rudy, on your behalf? I love this question. This is a great question.
Oh, boy. Well, number one, I don't think that really happened factually in the movie, right? That was kind of like creative license, but it was really cool. That's a great question. I mean, I loved all the players. They all seemed to like me. I got along with everybody. Like Ryan Miller, great example. Awesome guy. Just great guy. Maybe Herbie and Ryan Miller. I don't know who would lay down their jerseys to play. I mean, I think everybody's kind of worried about their own situation and getting in the game. But everybody was so happy when I got in that game. I'll never forget that. At Penn State, like, I got in that game, and it was so cool because all the fans ran out on the field after that play, because we were 8-0. That's the first time we were 8-0 for a long, long time. And the magic was special. We're feeling a Big Ten championship that night, the Rose Bowl, number 3 in the country. And it was just great. And I got in the locker room, and Cooper's going through his meeting. I was like, hey, give Wargo an ovation. Wargo got in the game. And everybody was fired up about it. So I guess that would answer the question.
Excellent. That was cool. All right, guys. We really appreciate Mike's time tonight, and for everybody hopping in. I know it was a little bit different this evening. We worked our way through it, but we got through it, everybody. I believe if Chris is back tomorrow, he'll take over for the call-in show. If not, I will fill in for Chris. Cory, welcome back home to Florida. It's good to have you back. Everybody's dying to know, how's Lisa doing, Cory?
She doing good. She doing as good as always.
So I'm going to take an EvuMex tutorial class next time. So I will nail it down. I'll do some remedial training. But hey, just like the Buckeyes, sometimes we meet adversity. We got to do the best we can. We got to adapt, improvise, and overcome. So thank you guys very much. I apologize it took this long to get on the broadcast, but always great to see you guys. Thank you very much.
No problem. Mike. Thanks, Mike.
I think we need to put Mike on the spot here with Alex Martin's super chat there.
Oh, let's see. Alex Martin got a super chat for you, Mike. I don't know if you can still hear us or not. Alex says, Mike, I probably saw you on campus, class of 94. I was friends with Robert Smith. Back in the day, he walked off the team. We all knew he couldn't stand Cooper. What's your take as to why he walked off? Ooh. Oh,
he's coming.
He's coming in to answer this one, Alex.
That name sounds familiar. I was wondering if he lived in World Tower. It was from New York.
Yes.
But maybe you can put that in the comments. That was really interesting. My freshman year, I was just a normal guy at Moral Tower, fun, having fun like all of us. And then I made the team. And then my second week on the team, I survived the freshman camp. Everybody's like, we all have a meeting, and it's a players' meeting. And Robert Smith just said, I can't handle this. I want to be a doctor. And basically, he had a problem with the offensive coordinator, Elliot Uzelak. I think Elliot Uzelak and him just did not get along. I would take Robert Smith's side on that one. He was really kind of a gruff guy and aggressive. So that was a shock. Robert Smith left the team, but we got him back in 1992. He was an absolutely awesome guy. He was a great guy to me. I was so happy for his success when he got drafted in the first round of the the first round of the Minnesota Vikings, and it was great to have him back. And he's just a great player, and we got him back. So the thing I look up to is he put it on the line. Most players would just say yes, sir, and I'll keep playing, and they're afraid to lose their scholarship, and he wasn't afraid to do that. And at the end, it was Elliot Uzelak that ended up having to leave. And this is all in the papers. This wasn't. There was an issue. What happened was Robert was not on the team in 1991, and he's an excellent athlete, so he was on the track team with Coach Russ Rogers. And John Cooper obviously wanted him back on the team. So they had a meeting in the winter of 1992. And so it was Coach Cooper, Elliot Uzelak, and Robert Smith. And this is a story I heard. Elliot Uzelak wanted him to say that he basically made all this stuff up about him because it got in Sports Illustrated. Robert Smith stormed out. And then Cooper's like, John Cooper said, you were supposed to have me in the room before you interacted with Robert Smith. You did not listen. So Elliot Uzelak was gone because he tried to force Robert Smith to confess in a recording that basically that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. That was what I heard. I know it was in the might have been in the papers, but we were so glad to have Robert Smith back. He's a great guy. So, he was really nice to me.
Wow, what a story, man! What a story. So I'll give Mike a second to get back so he can hear us here. I'm muted, but yes, Mike, this is Alex Martin from New York. This is the one you were thinking of. So yeah, that is Alex Martin.
I do remember Alex Martin now. I remember he's from New York.
Yeah, there you go. Very cool.